all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App
We
Store.
can't allow bad things to happen to our country. And bad things are happening to us. Perhaps like never before. You'll be seeing what goes on, and perhaps like never before. We are the buttheads, not very smart. We are the buttheads, not very smart. Shit, we failed. Shit, we failed. They may allow me back. They may allow me back. So unfortunately, that rip was with the general, I have to correct you. They made that story, but they didn't make a point. The triple fall, multiple falls. When they got up, we actually got along with these great reporter. Not a great doctor, but he's a hell of a reporter. Talked to him powerfully at the beginning of mass. Somebody went into mass, and then he became into mass. Look at the world, look at what happened to the world. Look at the world, it's not just the six.
Everybody, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. It's Friday night here on the portal, as it is everywhere else. I can only assume, but I think so. And hope wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a great start to your weekend. Last weekend before the holiday weekend. Wow. Where the hell did that time go? That's what I don't know. I'm just surprised at how quickly it all came up. It's just crazy. And thank you for that little notification. I appreciate that. I'm sure there'll be more. There's always more, but speaking of more, there's always more Paranormal Portal, as you are on our main channel here. If you're on YouTube, you're at youtube.com/Paranormal Portal. However, we have another channel, and that is youtube.com/Paranormal Portal Pieces, and that is our smaller formats, 15-minute shows where we take the 2-hour shows and we find little pieces of them and make smaller videos of them to showcase and highlight what's going on here on the main channel. So if you're not already subscribed to the Paranormal Portal Pieces, please get subscribed. That would mean a lot to us. It's something we're really proud of and been working hard on, and would love for you guys to become part of that as well as the podcast. Of course, the podcast is available everywhere right now, live. The newest episode is an interview I did with Tony Merkel of the Confessionals, and it was a great talk. We had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and a lot of great insights into the man and the machine of the Confessionals universe. So check it out. That is available on all the platforms: iHeart, iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, and Stitcher, a bunch more. A whole bunch more. But anyway, I'm not alone here. I am joined by my firstborn, the first branch of my family tree, and this is, of course, Mr. Sheldon. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing great. It is Friday Fun Day, and I'm ready to jump right in to the portal.
Well, you already are. You're now in the portal, so I'm glad you're ready. It's how quick it happens. Sucks you in like a bad vacuum, doesn't it?
like a bad vacuum.
I don't know. That's all what came to my head. You know, I got to work with what I got going on here. I got like about enough gray matter to carry a sentence, and that's about it. So anything else that happens, I just roll with it. But thank you, all of you who are here, and to all of you who will be coming in here. I know the shows are always an evolution of audience, and that's always cool. But we got a lot on our plates tonight to get through, and we are especially looking forward to doing that. And first of all, I think we should probably hit the news. What do you think, Sheldon?
Oh, that's a perfect place to start.
It is. Let's see if we got any zingers tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's head to the news. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. And this is, of course, your hotspot for the news that just ain't normal.
Never is.
Never
the only thing
is.
normal here is the paranormal.
That's right. The only normal we got is paranormal. That's a good saying. I like that. I might use that going forward, Sheldon. Thank you very much.
I give you permission.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for that. I appreciate that. Let's see. Let me get things minimized here. And so we're all set for our first article of the night, which is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. And they are telling us right off the top of the news heap tonight. Oh, I hate those auto ads. What they're bringing to the table is anti-aging vaccine appears to work, folks. So forget about getting old. Forget about those aging wrinkles and crow's feet and achy bones and stuff, because they're working on mice right now, and they're keeping them young, apparently. Anti-aging vaccine appears to work in mice. So
I'm interested.
It is. Apparently they use mice for testing because they have a very similar biology to ours, I don't know what degree, but I imagine that they must, because it's not like they're snails. You know, they got hair and
they're basically a cousin, right?
Yeah, that could be. Anyway, scientists have developed a vaccine that could one day reverse the aging process in humans. All right. Mankind has been obsessed with gaining immortality for thousands of years, but even despite the incredible advances in science and medicine achieved over the last few centuries, our species still remains just as vulnerable to the aging process as our ancestors were millions of years ago. Millions, it says. In recent years, however, scientists have been making good progress towards understanding exactly how the aging process works, as well as how it might be slowed or even reversed. Of particular note is a newly developed experimental anti-aging vaccine that appears to be capable of slowing down the aging process in mice and can even reverse signs of the age-related diseases. Okay, all right, so it might reverse diseases. According to the National Institute on Aging, or NIA, more acronyms, folks, the vaccine works by targeting senescent cells, which are cells that have stopped multiplying due to age, but that won't die as they're supposed to. The older we get, the more of these cells accumulate, resulting in various age-related ailments. While treatments have been developed to remove these cells, a vaccine could potentially be more effective by helping to prevent the buildup of senescent cells in the first place. Initial trials of the vaccine in mice have proven quite promising. However, it remains to be seen whether or not it's safe to administer to humans. Yeah, that's kind of a quantum. That's a big leap from mice to people. But anyway, and it's not like they're just testing a new peanut butter here, for God's sakes, you know. It's a little more gravity involved here. Just saying. To humans, whether it will work as well as it does in mice. I think the data was extremely strong. I think it's a really good proof of principle, says Professor Paul Robbins, Associate Professor or Director of the Institute of Biology on Aging and Metabolism at the University of Minnesota. Right in your neighborhood, Sheldon. Yeah.
I could sign up for trials.
Yeah, you in your advanced years, I'm sure it'll come in handy. The next step will be to begin human trials while also developing additional types of vaccines that target different parts of the senescent cells. Who knows? Perhaps one day we'll all be lining up to receive our vaccine doses, not for corona, but for help us live longer and healthier lives. Ooh, sign me up.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are you? So if there was a vaccine, would you do it? Would you, if they said, look, just keep you in your 20s all forever?
Oh, okay. Now we're talking immortality. Okay, if we're talking immortality, that's a scary thought. I probably couldn't go there.
Well, no, I'm just
but
saying,
if I was...
It's just anti-aging. So, yeah, I mean, if you don't age... YouTube did? There it goes.
Yep.
Apparently we're reconnected. I don't know, folks. We're back. Sorry. Looks like my broadcasting software kind of pooped the bed here quick, but it's done, apparently. But...
Wouldn't be a normal night if some did get screwed up somewhere.
Yeah, I know. It's so tragic. But, you know, if you could slow down the aging process, why not? I mean, because here's the thing. There is merit in looking at a wizened older person and going, they've really lived their life. And you know, that's kind of a badge of some sort, that they lived to old age, for one, because not everybody gets that opportunity. But the other part of it is, you know, as I can attest, getting older sucks. It's not a graceful process for me. And it's probably because of all the things that have been wrong with me in my life. Just birth wise and accidents and stuff that I've been beaten, battered, and bruised for many years. And the years are getting pretty heavy. So I don't know what I'm looking forward to here, but I think if they could wind that back, I might even sign up for something like that. You know, if they could turn back that clock a little bit and help me reclaim my vigorous youth, that might be worth it. But I'm not one person that wants to live forever. It's like, I don't know. I think there's something, I don't know. It's a natural process, right? Everything comes into the world and then goes out of the world. And that's the natural ebb and flow of things. And it's kind of hard to understand, but at the same point, I worry about when people mess with the natural flow of things. I think that something always is going to go sideways whenever we put our thumb in the leaking dike, and that meaning like a levee or something. I don't want to get misunderstood there. The Dutch story of the kid putting his thumb in the leaking wall or whatever. I just wanted to clear that up, just in case there's somebody out there going, "He said what?" I don't want that. So,
that was me just a second ago.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, it's more like a wall, like a dam. Okay. All right. So,
you know, that's a good point though. How you mentioning the natural order of things. I mean, that's kind of where you get into scary territory. Is what are the consequences of messing with that order? And I mean, we will eventually, I think. I mean, we are already messing with the natural order of human life and all that kind of stuff. But for anti-aging, the what changes that could cause to our own cells is kind of a scary thought too.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'm sure they'll be finding some really interesting mice as this goes on. So like they're like flying around the cage or turn into rocks and stuff. Who knows?
Arm growing out of their head.
Yeah, superheroes, superhero mice. It could happen. But anyway, that's first on the news block for the night. So I don't know what you guys think of that, but I think that's kind of interesting stuff. Let's get to the next one because we got a lot more to get through. Hopefully OBS will behave itself for the rest of the night and keep us connected. But if not, just know that if the connection drops, just sit tight. We'll promise we will restore it. We got a lot of show to get through. Okay, here's an interesting one, and I'm going to copy this and put it in the TFR chat as well because it's also a visual article. Hey, Renee, good to see you. Renee's over in the TFR, as well as Lucky, Bam, and Psycho Dave, and API or AP1. Okay. Here's an article that we're going to get into next. Those of you on TFR, you can read along because there are visual examples to this, but let's get to the article here. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. It's talking about rock formation on Mars. Looks like a crashed UFO. God, it really does.
Ooh. Wow.
That's a tough one to figure. Okay. It says an image captured in 2006 has recently been the subject of debate and controversy on social media, which is, of course, where all great ideas are discussed.
True.
Yeah, for their merit. Originally photographed by the HI-RISE camera aboard NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, the image shows part of the Valles Marineris. God, that sounds like
Marinara?
No, Marineris. There is an IS at the end. It's not spaghetti, Sheldon.
Okay.
Region of Mars, an area characterized by the abundance of canyons and chasms dotted along the landscape. More recently, however, a zoomed-in section of the image shows what appears to be a disc-shaped object embedded in the sediment at the end of a trench that has been gaining attention online. The image, it has been argued, is evidence of a UFO crash. Scientists have long dismissed any such claims, instead favoring the more conventional explanation that it's simply part of the landscape that is a naturally occurring chasm. While it certainly does look as though there's a disc-shaped object embedded in the end of it, we tend to favor the official explanation on this particular case. In all likelihood, the disc is little more than a naturally occurring formation. You can check out the original image here, as well as the original description here. The analysis of the UFO by anomaly hunter Jean Ward, or Jean Ward, I don't know how that's pronounced, can also be viewed in the video below. I think we'll leave that, of course, but that is interesting because if I try to play the video TFR and the audio streams are only going to get silence. So check that out at your leisure, folks, if you want to. I'll put the link in the YouTube chat as well. And if you,
it just does not look natural to me.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't to me either. That's a very unusual anomaly at the end of that trench. It does look like something literally went down there and dug a hell of a trench. If it stayed together after digging through that much sediment, and still looks that spherical and good, man, they can build stuff. They can really build stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's almost a perfect half circle. Like what?
Yeah, it doesn't look natural to me at all. In fact, if it was a natural formation, I would expect that same fluid flowing line of a half circle to be on the trench walls itself, but there isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all jagged cliff edges. It looks like. So I don't know. I don't know how deep it is. I don't know how big it is. There's no telling from this image, but it does look very suspect. That's for sure. Interesting stuff, folks. Let's continue on. We got 11 minutes left of our newscast here before we hit the first break, but let's continue. And this one sounds a little disturbing. I'm not sure. This is from recent. This is not from the archives. So, but I'm kind of interested to see what this said. Once I saw the headline, I was like, ooh, we gotta cover that one. This is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Priests conduct 9-hour exorcism in Italy. 9 hours. That's actually not bad for an exorcism. All things considered, that sometimes they can take weeks.
Really?
Yeah. And the longer they take, of course, the less good it is for the person that's with the affliction, because they're undergoing some huge mental and physical stress. So, the Italian media is reporting on a particularly lengthy exorcism that required the attention of 4 priests. While you might be forgiven for thinking that the exorcism is a concept relegated to the annals of history, this controversial ritual can and do still happen even in developed nations where belief in demonic possession and the power of exorcists to remove them is still a very real thing indeed. That's kind of a misstatement, though. The exorcist has no power. It's the power of his belief, right? All right. Anyway, that's me inserting myself into that statement. But earlier this month, the Italian media reported that the case of a young woman who had begun to exhibit violent and blasphemous behavior that her mother had put down to demonic influence. She was taken to the church of St. Mary's of Mount Bericcio in northern Italy, where she remained for some 9 hours and was subjected to an arduous exorcism ritual involving 4 priests. It was frightening, horrible, and because it alternated 3 different voices, a witness stated. Soon enough, reports of screams from within the church prompted calls to the police, resulting in the arrival of 2 patrols and an ambulance crew. However, they all chose to remain outside. According to reports, the girl fell asleep at around 8:30 in the evening, which the priest interpreted as a sign that the demonic influence had finally been exorcised from her. She was then bundled into a car so that she could be taken home. The biggest problem with cases like this is the fact that it's quite possible, as the girl's father believed, that she's suffering from mental illness and was not possessed as her mother had claimed. If so, undergoing a ritual like this is not likely to have helped her one bit. Yeah, but what if it's not? I mean, it's obviously in the modern age, more people are going to probably gravitate towards, it's a mental illness. She probably needs some kind of meds. But what if they're wrong? Then what? Then you're treating a person pharmacologically for a very spiritual affliction, and that's not going to help either, is it? So,
and what if mental illness is a symptom of it?
Well, that's something I used to wonder about, because let's say that, just for the sake of argument, let's say that there is a spiritual embodiment in every mental illness. What trace does that leave physically upon the person? Because if there's a change in behavior, then there's probably some kind of fundamental change in the physiology of that person, whether it's just something they could find through an MRI or a CAT scan of the brain. Some regions that are overdeveloped, some that are underdeveloped, some, anomalies. Could that be a very physical footprint of a very spiritual affliction? And I don't know, maybe. I'm no doctor and I couldn't begin to guess, but that's just something that's occurred to me. It's like, well, maybe some of these things that show up on CAT scans are actually physical footprints of a spiritual affliction. Maybe. I don't know. I don't believe that, by the way, that it's all spiritual and that there is no mental illness. I think there is, but and that it's very, very biologically triggered. It's not, just something that happened one day. So in those cases, yeah, of course, the traditional talking and pharmaceutical substances can help to alleviate those symptoms and allow these people to live very normal lives, and that's wonderful. But on the other hand, if it's not a spiritual affliction, or if it's not a physical malady in and of itself, then is there ever any hope for any relief for that person, if that's the only way it's being treated? So, I don't know. It's up to you to believe what you want. I'm not a doctor, nor am I authorized to make such claims, but just some things I think about.
Good thoughts.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I have a bunch of them. Happens every day. All right, let's get to the next one. I got to see what time we got left here. We're down to 6 minutes. We're doing pretty good, I think.
You can do it.
This is, I understand that the home decorating is kind of adventure, and it can be important for some people to really go away from the established norms and try to do things a little differently in their homes in order to, stand apart from other people and to have something unique. However, I don't encourage this one. Unexplained-mysteries.com from the archives of October 2nd, 2015. Woman uses unexploded bombshell as a vase.
Oh, my God. Oh.
A careers advisor from Warwickshire in England uses an old World War II shell to hold flowers for 30 years. 45-year-old Catherine Rowlands had originally discovered the shell buried in the playing fields at her school when she was 15 years old. Assuming it to be safe, took it home to use it as a vase. It wasn't until she watched a World War I documentary several decades later that she started to realize that her long-held ornament might not be quite as harmless as it at first appeared. Concerned for her safety, Rollins called the police and learned to her horror that the innocuous-looking relic was, in fact, an unexploded bombshell that could have gone off at any time. The police said that the shell had the potential to have killed anybody that was within about 20 meters of it and could well have taken the house down, she said. I have not had the shell on that mantelpiece for 3 decades now, and even took it to the university, and I used to stick plastic roses out of the top of it when I was dancing around to Madonna. Oh, nice. Fortunately, however, nobody was hurt, and the shell, which was taken away to be rendered safe by bomb disposal experts at the MOD, is now back on the mantelpiece holding flowers once again. Well, there you go. There is a happy ending, but my God. Just think. Yeah. Boy, you can't.
Why not make sure?
I don't know if she had any concept of what she had. Oh, look at this, a piece of metal. Cool. It looks so decorative and nice. It looked lovely with roses. I don't know. She might not have had any clue, but she said when she started watching documentaries and saw what some of the shells look like, she's like, hey, looks just like my mantelpiece. Oops. So there you go. And of course, England received a lot of bombings during World War I and II. So very scary stuff for sure. All right, let's go to the next one here. And this is also from the archives. And this one, what's this one? Oh, here you go, Sheldon. In the annals of reading the label. Well, we got another one. Definitely read the label, folks. Here's one from unexplained-mysteries.com from August 7th, 2015. Woman accidentally cooks using shower gel.
Oh, no.
For the longest time, Melanie Jackson couldn't work out what was making her cooking taste so disgusting. What could be one of the most ridiculous cooking mishaps ever, a woman from West Horsham in West Sussex discovered to her horror that for several months she'd been mistakenly using a bottle of olive oil-based shower gel in her cooking in place of actual olive oil. While the 5 pound 40 pence bottle of shower gel admittedly does look like it could be a culinary product at a glance, the word shower gel at the bottom of the label ought to have been a little bit of a giveaway. According to her post on Facebook, Melanie ended up throwing away 2 saucepans full because she believed that they were responsible for her food tastes strange. She even considered changing her dishwasher as well until she finally realized the extent of her blunder. Turns out what I thought was olive oil was actually olive oil shower gel. Chef of the Week awards is not mine. Yeah, no kidding. There you go, Sheldon. Clean on the inside, though. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, God, that would be horrible.
I'm just shocked she never got sick or anything like that. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think she made it that far into any of her recipes, like a spoonful or two, and she was like, "Yeah, this tastes horrible." I don't know. Takes all kinds, though, doesn't it? Let's see where we're at here for time. To 1 minute. We're down to 1 minute, folks, so I think that's where we're going to leave the newscast for now. But that one's a pretty good place to end, I guess. So let's get back to everything else and get ready for the break. Read the damn label, folks.
Oh, yeah, true. Maggie said, wouldn't she have seen the foamy bubbles?
No, well.
When you're stirring it in, like, it's going to bubble, or isn't it?
It's probably pretty diluted because you don't usually add that much olive oil to recipes. It's like a tablespoon or something. So, I don't know. Maybe it was really diluted and it never really occurred to her that those bubbles weren't just the natural spices simmering.
This one's a little spicy.
I don't know why my cooking tastes like ass. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Well, now you said it.
I did. I cracked the seal on the language barrier here on the portal. Sorry, folks. It just came out. I have no.
All right, guys. 1 word's allowed.
Oh no, no. Let's keep it clean. Family show. Speaking of donkeys, Sheldon, what are you thinking of?
Well, now I'm thinking of, okay.
Never mind. All right, so folks, we're going to go to our first break of the night, and when we get back, we'll dive into more of the fun that is the Paranormal Portal, and I don't know, you won't want to miss it. That's what I heard anyway. All right, we'll be right back. Don't go away. right, folks, welcome back to the Paranormal Portal. I'm still your host, Brent Thomas. I'm still joined by Sheldon here, and we are cruising the night away. Rachel says, actually during World War II, my dad figured out the idea to use cod liver oil for cooking when there was a shortage of cooking oils. Wow, that's cool. I don't know. Is cod liver oil actually made from like the little livers of cod? I don't know. It's not. I mean, forgive me. I'm really not trying to be stupid here. It's just, I suppose if it's just a naturally derived oil, you might as well. That's pretty cool.
Well, you see, it sounds to me like it comes from the liver of a cod.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's why I threw that out there. I was not really sure. I don't know very much about the oils and stuff and where they come from or what they are good for. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I think so. Okay, so Rachel's not really sure either. Okay, it's not just me. I feel way better now because when you ask a question like this, is this stupid? Is this a dumb question? There are no dumb questions, though. So especially here on the portal, because sometimes I got most of them, and that's fine. If you got questions, we hope to give you answers. If we don't have answers, we'll just add a few more questions. But remember, if you want to call in and be a part of the show, you can do so by dialing the phone number of 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. Those are numbers for fun here on the portal. And if you've got a question or some kind of paranormal event you'd like to discuss, by all means, call in. I love talking to you guys. So that's awesome.
Dubmass says, yeah, it literally comes from their livers.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
I was right.
Well, there is something to a title. You never know if you can trust the title or not, but I guess in that case, it's pretty literal. So we'll go with it. I did not know that. All right. And Farm concurs with that. So Farm, of course, is Pharmacy Seeds Network is our good friend Carlton, who's been part of the show for a number of years. Anyway, he's been a little rare lately, but it's good to see him popping in now. So, all right, folks, let's get to the weirdness that you've come to love here on the portal, and that is the paranormal. And we got a lot of stuff to get through. We're going to go through some more glitches in the Matrix. We're going to go into a few reports from phantoms and monsters, and we're going to go into everything that we can squeeze into the rest of the show, which is another hour and a half or hour and 23 minutes as it works out. Literally, like I'm looking at the clock. Oh, yeah, 23 minutes. Okay, because there are breaks. Yeah. We got breaks, but we'll get in everything we can. So first off, let's go to our glitches in the Matrix. Real-life glitches in the Matrix from Factinate.com. Again, hey, is Portal Mom in here? Have you seen her?
I haven't, actually.
I haven't either, but she could be just laying back. And she does like to lurk and just listen, so it's possible she's just lurking. But if you're out there, Portal Mom, we love you.
Come on, Nina.
So number 12 is one we're on in this list, and it is dressing for success. So these are coming from Factinate.com. These are experiences, real-life glitches in the Matrix moments. So let's see what they realized, what they experienced. I love the glitches in the Matrix stories because, if anything, it definitely demonstrates that reality is really pliable. It's malleable. And I like that. I don't like living in a concrete, rigid structure. I think it should be ebbing and flowing just like so many other parts of life. So it says dressing for success. I've written about this before, but it's one of the weirdest things that I've ever experienced. When my now ex-boyfriend and I had just gotten together, I went out and bought him some new shirts. We'd just fallen in love, and I saw a shirt that said Love Life on it. Big red bold letters. The shirt was all white, with only the words on the front. It was a little inside joke between us, I guess, because we would use that phrase to describe our life and named our business Love Life. He really loved it and wore it a lot before it sat in the closet for a couple of years. Well, a couple of years go by, and let's just say that Love Life was now a horrible definition of our relationship, and he was a horrible guy. Oh, that's too bad.
Oh.
It sucks when things start out cool and they just go all wrong. That's too bad. Anyway, I'm cleaning out the closets one day, and I'm getting rid of old clothes, and there's the shirt. I pull it out, and the shirt now reads, Low Life. It looks the exact same way it looked before, but the words are very clearly say Low Life. I immediately ask him if he remembers the shirt and what it says, and he tells me love life. Well, as soon as I show him the shirt, he flips out the same way I did. Both of us know that the shirt never said low life. Why would I buy anyone a shirt that said something like that, let alone for my own boyfriend? It felt like I just flipped dimensions into the reality where my ex-boyfriend was a complete terrible jerk. And so the shirt I bought him reflected that. It was honestly pretty weird and surreal, and that was by Pacifican W. I think that's interesting because, so what if that's like a Mandela effect, where relationships, when they go sideways, just all of a sudden they're just awful. And it's like, what happened to that deal I had before? It was so perfect. And then just suddenly it's terrible. But what if that's the Mandela effect, where we're actually like constantly slipping dimensions? There's a dimension where you get together and things are wonderful. And then there's the dimension where it kind of reverses. And that's the one that tears you apart. And you just kind of seamlessly slide into these transitions. And it might seem kind of like, if you believe that, you don't have to take responsibility for your life because it's just the dimension. And I don't mean to imply that, but what if the dimensional shift is reflected in such things as that a shirt that used to say love life now says low life? I don't know. Is it just a case where it was like cursive and the E kind of got rubbed off and now it looks like a W, and the V and going into the E looks like a W? Maybe. But I don't know. We don't see a picture, so there's no saying for sure, but it's kind of interesting. It's kind of crazy stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some thoughts anyway. Number 13, gone before his time. I remember my mom telling me that my cousin died from an overdose. The next year, nearly to the day, she calls to say, my cousin, the same one, died. I replied, yeah, from an overdose, right? She was shocked that I already knew. I thought she was somehow messing with me until she showed me the date of his passing. I still can't really explain that one. A lot of people have theorized that he could have overdosed before and survived, making it that I incorrectly assumed that he passed the first time. But the weird thing is that I barely knew anything about this cousin. My mom's extended side of the family is very big, with 22 first cousins, more than 40 second cousins, etc. So there's a lot of cousins that I've never met personally, including this one, and I specifically only remember being told about his existence in the context of his substance abuse and how it contributed to his passing. Since my other relatives speculated that it was intentional and not accidental, basically I never really knew much about him while he was alive and didn't really know his name. So while it's very plausible that I could have heard about him overdosing beforehand, the way I remember it is very different. Memory is a fickle thing, though, so who knows? Again, yeah, I just wonder how many of these are matrix glitches and how many of them are actually transitions to a different dimension. I really think that kind of happens. So here's, in a nutshell, here's kind of my operating theory, and based on nothing other than just a lot of thinking about this stuff. And it may sound stupid. It may sound absolutely bizarre. It may not make any sense to any of you. But here's the thing. I think about this whole idea of a multiverse. And the whole concept of it is that for everything that you think and do, you instantly create this multiverse reality of it. But do our choices then push us into these different existences of ourselves? As we make choices, as we come to the forks in the road, it's like, do I move or do I stay? Do I go out with this person or just hang out at home? So as you make these choices, are we actually lateraling over to the existence where we do that? You know, we got all these forks in the road and they all exist. So it seems hard to believe that there's an echo, like two existing at the same point in time. So is it us that transverses these? And we're actually moving dimensionally through this spider web of choices of our lives. And sometimes when we move, maybe other things have changed too, just because of the dynamic nature of it. And that's where we get these Mandela effects. Because suddenly we're in these situations where it's like, wait, that didn't used to say when the wolf lays with the lamb. It said the lion lays down with the lamb. Everybody knows this. You know, are these other artifacts of this multidimensional reality? And I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a silly, stupid thing, I suppose, but that's just what I think. It's like, what does it mean? Why would there be these other existences if we weren't utilizing them? And so it's just some thoughts.
So how would, as far as that explanation or theory behind it, how would you then explain the people that do remember it the other way? So, like, as far as Mandela effect goes, like when you Berenstain Bears or Berenstein Bears, like, what about the people that are like, no, it was always Berenstein or Steen Bears?
Well, because we're not the only ones transitioning; they are as well. And so perhaps that's the anomalies. These anomalies are these little signposts that let us, know that we're not in the same place that we were. And so they are not from the same places they were either as they make their choices. And if you'll notice, the Mandela effects are never 100% of people. It's some people always remember it the way that it is, and some people remember it being different. So maybe that's the disparity. I don't know. Just some ideas.
So then it brings up the question, are you the same you that I used to know? And am I the same me that you used to know, if that's the case?
I'm way better now. There's no question.
Yeah.
I'm way better than that guy. Believe me. No, I think that's probably true to a degree, because I think that as we live our lives, hopefully we're an evolving being, right? So hopefully we're emerging to a better version of ourselves than we were before. So I don't know. It's something to think about, but just some ideas. I don't know.
If we all of a sudden change, like you guys in the audience tuning into a show, and all of a sudden we seem really different, could be a sign you've transitioned.
You might have gone somewhere else where the paranormal portal's boring and sucks. Because that's not here. That's not here. That's not how we roll.
No, we're great.
That's not how we roll here. All right, then it said, I hate Howie Mandel was the one that wrote that one. Okay, well, all right. I don't know how he ever did to you, but all right, whatever. Number 14, doing some reflecting. What's a really good question? I really want to know. No one's saying.
It may have been my question. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, probably.
I'm not sure. Because
you, of course, bring a lot of profound ideas to the table.
Well, thank you.
Of course you do. No, I don't know what he's talking about. If that's a reflection of what we were saying, I don't know. Let me know, unknown. What do you really want to know? Was it what we were talking about?
Yeah, it was my question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anybody's qualified to answer it. Really, all we can do is throw ideas at it, right? But yeah, it's pretty amazing once you start thinking about all of this stuff and all of the possibilities and all of the quantum directions that our lives take, from the most minuscule of causations. Like it might be, I'm going to lay on this side tonight, instead of laying on that side. This seemed like an empty, stupid idea, whatever. You just do something different. Could that have ramifications that now when you get out of the bed, because you laid on the other side, you're actually waking up to a different version of your reality? I don't know. Kind of cooks your bacon after a while, folks.
And the amount of changes we could be making with every single choice, with every single word that I'm saying, the amount of changes that could be rippling.
Sure. Ooh. Lucifer Morningstar says, Paranormal Portal, there is no version of this show that is boring. All right, brother. You get...
Not in this reality.
No, he gets the applause. You get the applause.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the applause also for that super chat. Thank you. Or the sticker that was sent before. Thank you very much. Let's continue. Doing some reflecting. It says number 14 is doing some reflecting. I'm a security guard at a distribution warehouse, and sometimes I have to work on the graveyard shift. During this time, the only people on the premises are me and the occasional truck driver bringing in a late load. Our guard shack is concrete with sliding glass doors on the sides, no locks, and big windows in the front and back. Sometimes when I'm the only person on the premises, I see a reflection of someone walking past the shack. Every inch of the shack and the yard is covered by security cameras. No one has shown up on the footage when I see these reflections. I always check after. I have no idea who or what is causing these reflections. I don't know. It could be ghosts. They don't always show up on cameras. But it could be something else. too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Multi-dimensional things, since we're on that topic. Let's see, number 15, silver spoon. When I was about 15 years old, I was eating some 15 years old. I was eating some cereal, and I accidentally dropped my spoon onto the kitchen floor. I've read this one before, this on the show, as a matter of fact. I watched the spoon fall. As it hit the floor, it just vanished into thin air. I was shocked. I thought that surely my eyes were playing tricks on me. It must have just bounced away and gone out of sight or something. But I spent 30 minutes searching the entire kitchen for that spoon. I was honestly kind of freaked out by what I had seen. I tried to think of every possible place it could have gone. There weren't many places it could have ended up, and eventually, after looking everywhere I possibly could, I gave up on that search, and I never found it. That was by the Josh Watson. Now, we oftentimes talk about A-ports and D-ports. Of course, the A-ports are when you find items that you have no idea how they came into your house. Like it might be a stone sitting in the middle of your table when nothing was there before. Or, D-ports would be like your missing car keys. They should be here. You put them there. They're not there. And these are attributed to a spiritual intelligence, that somehow these spiritual entities, or entities of some kind anyway, can interact with our environment, including bringing things to us or removing things from us. And is this an instance where he actually was watching a D-port happen? Because oftentimes the D-ports are just, wait, it was just right there, and you're not really paying attention to it, so it's suddenly something that's just gone. But this person claims to have seen something disappear. As it hit the floor, just boom, it was gone. It no longer existed. And so is that a D-port? Was he watching some intelligence take it away by some manner? Or is that another issue of living in a multi-dimensional reality, where does that explain A-ports and D-ports as well? That they're just more of a symptom of living in a multi-dimensional universe? Maybe not. I don't know.
When I was younger, you've had some A-ports and D-ports when I was around, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I found that beautiful agate sitting on the chair after I got up.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was the one where we were, of course, living in my grandparents' house. They were both deceased. And I always wondered if they were happy that we were there. My grandfather, and I've shared this on the show before, but my grandfather was very much known to wake up at 5 o'clock every morning or earlier, go out on the beach and walk the beach by himself, picking up agates with the summer sun. Because, when you're collecting agates, you learn how to see them. And basically they just kind of have a shine when the light hits them that's different from every other rock. So you really can see them pretty good after you get your eyes attuned for what you're looking for. But this was a different kind of agate. It wasn't the red usual ones that we'd have all the time. It was kind of a white agate with, maybe it was just the inner part of an agate, but it just appeared. I gotten out of this chair, walked 2 steps to the refrigerator, grabbed a beverage, turned around, and there sitting on my chair was this agate. And you and your girlfriend were sitting on the couch about 3 feet away. And I said, "Did you just put that there?" And you're like, "What?" And I'd never seen this rock before in my life. But when I found that agate, I picked it up, of course, and I just thought, could this be my grandfather saying, "Yeah, I'm happy you're here," So it was kind of a cool situation. And that's what I attributed it to. I don't know. I don't know where it came from. I never got any message with it. It was just, I assumed that was the answer to my message, the question that I had asked. So I don't know. Yeah, I've experienced.
If you asked it and it appeared right after, I think you're right. It's got to be an answer.
I don't know if it was right after, but it was just one of those questions that I had as we were living there. And I just had always hoped so. Now, we also saw apparitions of him walking by the house a few times.
Yeah.
I remember that quite clearly. So he was obviously still around. Just a very calm, peaceful presence. Obviously never, raising hell or anything for us. He was just hanging out with us. So, but yeah. And sometimes when we lived there as well, I don't know if you ever experienced this, but we lived in the downstairs portion of the house. The upstairs was largely unfinished for a long, long, long time. And I would wake up at 2:30 in the morning and hear footsteps up there. Did you ever experience that?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't remember that, at least. No.
It was very rare, very, very rare, but it would happen. And, I knew it was nobody else because ladies and gentlemen, we lived way out in a rural area. There was not somebody, I just happened on this house and have a look. It wasn't like it could have been a break-in, but it wasn't. There was nothing up there to steal. It was just mostly just framed out and ready to be sheetrock, so there was nothing up there. But I would hear these pacing footsteps above me as I laid in my bed, and I was like, oh, wow, that's not normal. So, but I didn't ever had a creepy feeling by it. You know, I never felt like, oh, this is creepy, man. You know, I just felt that, I figured it was just my grandma or grandpa. Somebody was up there walking around, and that was their home.
Yeah.
They built that house. So, I mean, there's no doubt that they would be attached to it. And plus, with all of that construction work going on, if there is presences there, that's how you shake them out. Do some remodeling. You'll find out.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, yeah, good story though. We're down to 5 minutes. Let's get through a few more of these before the break. Number 16, time to fold. I once fell asleep wearing a certain pajama shirt. Yeah, I am sure. I remember putting it on. Then I woke up in the middle of the night, freezing cold, only to soon realize that I had no shirt on. I turned the light on, and there it was, folded neatly on top of my bed table. I still don't know what happened that night, but it has never happened again. My first thought was really terrifying. I suspected that someone must have undressed me. I guess it's possible, but if I would have slept very heavily or something, but that means some unknown person must have been inside my house, and that creeps me out just to think about. Some people have suggested that I might have been sleepwalking, but I've never done that before or since. Nevertheless, it seems like the only reasonable answer is that it is actually plausible. But if that is the case, I'm darn good at folding clothes in my sleep, so maybe I should do it more often. So it was actually, that was by This Part Sucks. Yeah. I don't know. That's a weird one. I have gone through periods of my life where I sleptwalked, but it was only very, very brief periods. Very strange things. And I don't know. I would get up and I would feel restless, get up and then kind of fall asleep right again, but hadn't actually gone back to bed. And then I'd be wandering around. So that was actually not long ago. That was only years ago, actually. But
really,
oh yeah, I got some doozies I can tell you sometime. But yeah, they were some pretty interesting experiences. Very strange, very, very strange. But I will tell you that it was very odd to wake up as I'm falling and stuff like that, and or waking up as I'm slamming into the floor because I fell down. That is not the way you want to wake up. I mean, I full body planked onto the floor.
Ow.
Like rigid, just like, and I have this jarring sensation, and I'm awake. I'm like, oh, that didn't feel good. And I just laid there and just did like an inventory for a minute. Said, anything broken? No, I think I'm okay. So one time I was standing up and I had this wood rocking chair, and it was one that you remember from when you were a baby. But
yeah, I do.
Well, that was in the living room, and I was wandering around the house, and suddenly I felt myself falling. I'd done the same thing, sleepwalking again. I felt myself falling, and my chin hit the arm of the chair as I was falling forward, slammed into the arm of the chair, and I ended up on the floor, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm surprised I didn't lose teeth off of that one. But yeah, true stories. That was very, very weird. But again, it was only for a period of time, and then it stopped. So weird stuff, folks. Number 17, the cat with more than 9 lives. When I was little, I used to have a Thomas the Tank Engine book with the fold-out parts and flaps. And there's this one part which was like a shed. And you could lift the flap to see inside of it. And inside was all the usual gardening and shed paraphernalia, but there was also a black cat seated in there. And here's the glitch, though. I swear, the cat wasn't always there. I used to love that book, but every time I read it, I would get to do that page and guess whether the cat would be there or not. Not a clue what that was really about, but it creeped a young me out to no end. That's kind of cool, actually. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Sheldon?
So are they saying that it would change, or it just didn't used to be there and then was there?
It would be there sometimes and then not there other times. Like you could flip open the little door on the book and the cat would be in there sometimes. And then he'd look other times and there was no cat. And it would just be kind of a coin toss which time, depending on when he looked at the book.
Yeah, with some of these other stories, it could be a lot of things, like I think a couple of the last ones, but this one does sound more glitchy slash what's the word for it? The Mandela effect.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, you never know. You never know. Very strange though, folks. But you know what else is strange? How quickly the time flies here on the portal, because we're down to just a few seconds before the hour break, folks. We're going to hit the hour break here and get back to it with another full hour on the other side. So please don't go anywhere. We have a lot more amazing stuff to read and talk about tonight. So I'll be here taking attendance on the other side. Just saying.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, ripping scars across my heart. Raging anger boils inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed. You break me down, you take me down. Look, I'm not wrong, you get. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken yet. I'm not broken
They linger in a perpetual dream state, a nightmare from which they cannot wake. I can't see you, Mommy. Where are you? I've never sensed anything like it. Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
And indeed they can. And indeed they can. Welcome back, folks. We're into hour number 2. Can you believe it? Hour number 2. Remember, if you are listening on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, or TalkStream Live, to stick around after the Paranormal Portal, because Paisley Wild will be up next with The Spaces Between. And you can also catch her doing live casting her show on YouTube as well. So you can catch her on TFR as well as youtube.com/The Spaces Between. So great shows, and that'll be coming up next. So, wow. I was thinking about something, Sheldon, and I forgot. Oh, I remember. Did you notice the Christmas decorating?
Yeah, I did just 2 seconds ago.
Okay. Nobody else did either. Nobody else did either. I hung Christmas lights up here, damn it. Nobody noticed.
Aw.
I mean, come on. You know,
I think it looks great.
Okay.
I think it looks fantastic. Don't you guys think that you did a good job? You did a good job.
Thanks. I appreciate that, because, you know, I'm just trying to bring in the festive spirit here, folks. I'm trying to bring in that holiday love and give it to all of you. So that's in the form of colorful little lights in the background among the hundreds of other lights. But, you know, I thought still. No, nothing. Okay. All right. Well,
where's the cricket sound? Oh, I don't have it. Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Yeah.
Anytime. Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. So Maggie said she commented the day I put them up. Okay. Thank you, Maggie. I missed that. That's my fault. But
yeah, jeez.
Spider-Man pajamas. Rachel's talking about Spider-Man pajamas. I don't know what I'm missing in the chat.
I need to get those. That's true. I do need to get those.
Spider-Man pajamas?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Why do you need to get those?
So I can have Spider-Man pajamas.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, good luck on that. All right. Let's get it back to more of the show, because, hell, I don't know how to top that. Let's go to some creatures. I don't know. Should we do creatures next? I want to do these other ones too, because I've been dealing with this. And some of those, I don't know if these are all paranormal, though. It's one of those articles that I think we'll read one of these. See what you guys think. All right. So this is another article from Factinate. And this is terrified people reveal their creepiest experiences. Ghosts in the Matrix, glitches, or ghostly apparitions, glitches in the Matrix, extraterrestrial visitations. Call them whatever. These are the creepiest and most inexplicable experiences from all over the internet. Some of these unsettling experiences are harmless, even benevolent, but others were lucky to escape with their lives. Or did they? Ooh. That's kind of a creepy last line there, but let's see. This is also from Factinate, folks, and it was written or pulled together at least by Brendan DeCosta, and this was he's a writer at Factinate. So thank you, Brendan, for this list, and we're going to check out at least the first one of these, because I'm kind of curious. I've been holding on to this article forever too, and the first one is called Pub Pals. It says, a few years ago, I was at my lowest point in life. Several people close to me had passed away unexpectedly, and my coworkers bullied me every day on the job. Basically, my life was falling apart. I was past being depressed. I just couldn't imagine waking up another day. So I'd planned to end my life. I bought a one-way plane ticket, got sleeping pills, and wrote a series of notes. And on the day I was to fly out to fulfill my plan, there was a terrible accident on the freeway to the airport. It was shut down in both directions, so I drove to a nearby pub to wait out the traffic. The second I sat down on the patio with my drink, a gentleman asked me if he could sit with me. Whatever, I thought. Sure, who cares? He began to talk, and I felt my blood run cold. He told me that whatever I was doing next was a horrible idea, and I would regret it. I didn't know what to think. Who was this guy? Why was he talking to me like this? But I listened anyway. He said that he sensed I was in pain, but that I had an incredible life ahead of me, and that this was not the way my story was supposed to end. Again, I'd never met this guy in my life, and hadn't mentioned a word to him about my plan. He asked me to hand him my keys and my wallet, and he give them back to me after I talked, and he listened. I poured my heart out to this random guy, told him all of my traumas and pains in life. I told him my whole terrible plan. I told him why I had gotten that one-way ticket to the cemetery across the country where I had buried my family. He just listened, and then he pulled out a lighter and asked me to pull out out my letters, and he helped me burn them. He told me I was worth so much more to the world, and that after I finished my drink, I needed to head home and get some sleep. He told me I was going to be okay tomorrow, and for some reason, I believed him. He then gave me my keys and my wallet back, and I left that afternoon and went home, hugged my family, and got some sleep. The next day, I started working on myself. I found a therapist and a new job. Years passed. I found myself in a fantastic place in life. So far from where I had been that day. To this day, no one in my life knows how close I came to taking my own life. But this random stranger just somehow understood me and saved my life. I never saw him again. I don't even know his name. It's the most unexplained thing that has ever happened to me, and yet I think about that guy every day. Whoever he is and wherever he may be. So thank you, kind stranger, for saving my life that random September day on a pub patio. That was by Throwaway 2021 ABC.
That is a beautiful story.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And you know, you've gotta think that's a divine intervention. That somehow, and here's the thing, a lot of times we ask for angels to enter our lives. We ask for them to intervene, but sometimes they don't show up as like these ornate, glowing winged beings. Sometimes it might be just as simple as a stray cat that comes up and gives you a snuggle and gives you a chance to reflect and love, and sometimes it's a stranger walking up and just and this person obviously knew a whole lot about what this person was doing, and either it's an incredibly psychically aware person, or that was his angel. That was his angel showing up and going, no, this isn't right. And I think that those are beautiful stories. I really do, and I'm glad. I wish they happened to more people. I wish they really did. I wish everybody had these experiences, because I think you gotta love life in that case,
I mean, especially with an example like that. I mean,
yeah,
have
exactly.
the chances of that happening, plus the message that it gave him. Yeah,
right. Yeah, exactly. And granted, we don't know. I mean, it could be just a creative writing exercise, but at the end of the day, does it matter? I mean, if it just makes you reflect and go, yeah, you know what, life is precious, and you gotta really embrace every moment, because you don't know when those last moments are. You don't know, and the last time you tell someone you love them could be your last. I mean, it's something Chris Gio closes his show with every time. It's like hug those you love. You never know when the last time is going to be, and it's like, yeah, that's very true. When is the last time? When is that last embrace? And you don't know. But
and I just want to say to anybody out there who's dealing with a lot in their time of life that it's important to reach out and get help, get assistance, just a shoulder to lean on, whatever you need. Because I mean, as far as we know, this is all the life we got. I mean, as far as we know. And I think it's important to learn as much as you can and stick to it to the end. I mean, you could find your purpose along the way.
Yeah, exactly. It's a confusing mess for most of us on the best of days, but sometimes these things peek through and then you figure it out. Wow, I found it. It's like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
All my life, this is just a little, and I've shared it before on the show, but I was always jealous of those people that I knew that knew what they wanted, that they knew what they wanted to do. It's like, how come they know and how come I don't? How come I don't know what I want? How come I can't figure this out? And I did every job under the sun. I've done everything from construction to retail to teaching to what else have I done? What else? I worked in corrections. I worked in in security and so many different fields and doing
Massage therapist. Yeah, I mean, I've done so many things and I never could find it. I never could find that thing. And it wasn't until I was sitting at a job I was doing and the idea came for the Paranormal Portal. It was like, wow, this is it. And so now I found out what I want to do. And now, of course, I'm working very hard to continue to realize and actualize this. But I didn't never know. But, sometimes I guess I'm a late bloomer. This is what it is. I'm like a really late bloomer. So I still, I know that this is where I'm supposed to be, at least part of where I'm supposed to be. And so that to me is a great big thing because I don't want to say I was lost, but I just never had found that passion, that desire to really, really throw myself into something until this. And you're seeing it, folks. This is my passion. And so this is the dream.
This is the dream in the making. Yeah, this is really it. This is what I knew I wanted to do as soon as I started doing it. And sometimes it's, it's exhausting, absolutely exhausting, but it's still, I wouldn't change it for a minute. So I don't know. That was a real roundabout way of saying, look, even if you don't know what you're supposed to do and you don't think you're going to figure it out, I'm a great example of you may figure it out still, because it sometimes takes a whole lot of time and experimenting in your life to figure out where you're supposed to go. But once you do, then I wish you all the best. So, and Sheldon, do you know that I usually talk about that every time we talk about suicide on the show? If it ever comes up in a story, I'm always saying that, whoever you are, wherever you are out there, if you need to hear this, you need to reach out, let somebody help you. You knew that?
I have noticed that.
Okay,
yes.
Good. All right, because I didn't know you'd ever heard that before, and I was really shocked that you decided to say that, because I was like, wow, that's what I usually say. I was very proud of you.
Oh.
So
I mean, I didn't know exactly what you said, but I know that you talk about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. No, that's perfect. Thank you for making that statement. Because I figure it must, there's a chance that it's coming up for a reason on any show when it comes up. It's like, is this one of those universal interventions where it's coming up and we're, we should make a statement about that and let people know, hey, it's going to be okay. We know that everybody out there is hurting to some degree, but don't give up, that there is hope. There is something to take away. Let's go to the second one here. And God, I guess I better move into the Phantoms and Monsters ones. What time is it? Because, okay, we got about 12 minutes. Maybe I will go into the Phantoms and Monsters stuff right now, folks, if you don't mind, because we got a few of them to get through. Got a few Dogman reports. And again, special thanks to Lon Strickler and the Phantoms and Monsters site. And he also has a podcast called Arcane Radio, and you should check that out as well. Lon's a great guy. He's really very interesting and has been at this for decades. He's very, very good at what he does, and there's amazing amount of resources and stories and testimonials from people that have experienced stuff on his site, phantomsandmonsters.com. So definitely check it out. But the first one is from July 15th of 2021. And this is a dogman cryptid canine shot by coyote hunter in Greene County, Pennsylvania. The reason that so many of these are coming from Pennsylvania on Phantoms and Monsters is one of the things that they're doing is a dogman research project in Pennsylvania. So that's one of the projects that his Phantoms and Monsters research affiliation is doing is in Pennsylvania. They're looking into the dogman. And so let's see what this one is. And this is Greene County, Pennsylvania resident James West had two horrendous cryptid canine encounters near his home when he was in his late teens. I'd recently interviewed him, supplementing his written descriptions of these incidents. The first incident is in July 2002, just 2 weeks before Christmas. I decided to go coyote hunting by myself, and I was having trouble sleeping. No one knew I had left, and it's around 11:30 p.m., no cell phones of any kind. Bad idea. I started my trek as always, doing down a well-used trail, until I reached a steep section covered with multiflora rose bushes. However, I had previously cut a path, and it wasn't hard to navigate, even in the snow that had been falling. I continued down the hill until I reached a large ravine that sets not too far behind the house. Then moving to my left, I went about another 100 yards or so to where the terrain planes out so you can cross a shallow stream. I crossed the stream and proceeded to walk up the long snow-covered hillside. After reaching the top, I went into action, setting up all my gear and finding a spot with a good backrest and nice firing lanes. My back rested against a large pile of crushed slate. My was shotgun leveled across my knees. I don't know what that means. He had his gun leveled across his knees, I guess. I quietly sat there, getting colder and colder as more snow covered by the minute. After 45 minutes to an hour, I decided to quit and pack up everything. And this is when things got scary. I grabbed my red filtered 1 mil candle power field spotlight, and when I turned it on, I saw it around 10 feet away, nose to the ground, in my direction on all fours. The light coming on didn't even startle or faze this creature. It's like it knew right where I was and knew the light would be on any second. It then took a step toward me and lifted up onto 2 legs. It didn't creak or crack when standing up. The only noise that I could note was a low, deep-sounding pop in the ribs/sternum area. It stretched out, puffed up its chest as if it weren't big enough, and I would have to say it was at least 7 to 8 feet tall, with 5-fingered hands and 2-inch claws. This dogman/cryptid canine never did open its mouth, so I can't comment on teeth. It took a step towards me, and as I had my shotgun already leveled, I fired a shot that hit it right in the middle upper portion of its ribs. Mind you that hitting something this close with a 12-gauge shotgun usually causes a major hole, and nothing could walk away from it. I was using number 2 shot, and the wad would have barely opened by the time it hit the creature. The shot let loose a mist of blood in the red-tinged light of the spotting lamp. It let out a loud yelp, then tucked its ears and ran to my right. It made it out of that light circle in 2 strides. I fired 2 more times at it, but it was much too quick, and I missed. I got up and started walking in the direction it ran, forgetting momentarily to reload my shotgun. I walked for about 10 feet, found a large pool of blood, then walked a few more feet and found less blood. The process repeated until I was around 30 feet from where I initially started, and there's no blood to be, just footprints. It's as if this thing could quickly regenerate or something to heal itself of such a massive wound. I stopped and realized how stupid I was for going after this thing after it just got wounded. I didn't know where it may have been more of these creatures in the area, or if they hunted in packs. I just thought I had encountered a real-life werewolf. I then trudged home in the night with a surely wounded God knows what, potentially circling me the whole way as I go. I took my time getting back. It took me 2 hours to walk what normally took 20 to 30 minutes. I made it back home, went to bed, and never spoke of that night again, until 2019. I hardly hunt anymore due to health problems, but even if I was healthy, going back out there, you would always be looking over your shoulder. However, I am working on getting a group of professional cryptid researchers to come and take a look. That was by James West. And the next one is this incident occurred in Namacolin, Greene County, Pennsylvania. I was impressed with James' description of the incident over the telephone. I believe, and maybe James does as well, that this creature may have appeared suddenly before him and vanished by the same supernatural means. Tracking the creature was somewhat easy since it was 4 to 5 inches of new snow. He described the creature as 7 to 8 feet in height. It had a somewhat short snout with a heavy brow ridge and oval eyes. The ears were set high and pointed, and it also had human-like hands with long curled talons. Since it was night, he couldn't distinguish the actual color of the fur. I truly believe this account and plan to interview James on Arcane Radio within the coming months. I will post this second encounter description very soon. That's amazing. What an incredible encounter. Wow. So he actually shot it and wounded it sincerely, but it seemed as though this thing was healing as it walked.
Yeah,
Yeesh.
that's. I mean, the one thing that gives this more merit to me is the popping sounds, because that's something I remember hearing from other dogman stories too. Is that I don't know if it's their joints or what it is that shifts, but there's always that popping sound when they're either going from 4-legged running to 2-legged.
Right. Yep, exactly. That's very, very strange. And they believe that it's, some realignment of the hip process or whatever, but it's strange. There's definitely a strange thing there. I want to see how long this one is. Yeah, this one's pretty long. We'll read this one after the break. I'm just looking to see if there's another one we can squeeze in before the break, because we've just got a couple minutes here. What is this one? Cow-sized hyena. Yeah, this is another longer one. So we'll go into these again on the other side of the break. But that you're right, that comes up quite often in the dogman sightings is that the popping noise is real common when they're going from quadrupedal to bipedal. And you're right. It does lend it some credibility, because physiologically that would take a whole different hip alignment to walk in a quadrupedal state and then to a bipedal state. And so perhaps there's a tendon that has to pop into a different line, and that's the popping noise. I don't know.
Could be.
Very, very interesting. Very weird. But I don't pretend to know what these things are, but it does seem to me that they seem to be more supernatural than just a flesh and blood thing. And the reason that I say that is because even going back to when we had Linda Godfrey on the show, she talked about the investigations they did with Lee Hempel in the Bray Road. And Lee had this farm, and it's actually on Bray Road, and he would find roadkill, like these deer, and bring them home, set them up, because he had heard these legends. He bought the property, had some weird accounts, and so he was really trying to investigate what the hell was going on there after having some weird experiences himself. So he and Linda started working in tandem and working together. They would set up these deer in a specific spot with trail cams aimed at them. They would tie the deer down so it didn't just get dragged off by some other kind of animal. And they would tie it down and put these trail cams on it. And she talks about the way that they had, frame, like three frames or something. And the first frame, it's like suddenly a mist appears. Second frame, more mist. Third frame, mist is fading and then gone. And then the deer is gone. And what could do that to like a Minnesota/Wisconsin corn-fed deer, which are really big white-tailed deer? I mean, these are, 100-plus pound animals. No one's just coming up and within a second, and then finding that the ropes that they tied the deer down were absolutely sliced, like they were sliced, as if cut with a very
like surgical
knife.
Precision.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't like they were worn or frayed or bitten. They were sliced. And they were using like climbing grade rope. And so this isn't a real light, easy rope. But what does that? I mean, that's not just the normal run up, grab some prey, and then run off kind of thing. And if that was done on trail cam, there would be a whole series of images of a physical creature doing that. However, they do still eat, so they're not just completely a spiritual creature. What are they? So there's like this footstep in each world kind of thing cooking with the dogman. They forage, they're found eating roadkill, they're found, going after people's dogs and cats and stuff. There's a lot of cases of them being observed either actively hunting or eating. So that tells you it's not just a spiritual creature, but it's something else. And so is this something else something that could heal? Is that why all the accounts of people shooting them basically is for nothing, because they heal very quickly? I don't know. It's
like in some cases, yeah.
It's like Wolverine kind of healing. In some cases, what? You got about 30 seconds.
Well, yeah, in some cases, like there were stories where they shoot and they see the bullet go in, but then like nothing.
Yeah.
Those are interesting ones too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, folks. I don't know what it is, but it's a hell of a phenomenon all the same. So we're going to go to our last break, and the bell's coming any second, but just know that we have another half hour after this. We're going to get in more of these creatures and weird things hiding in the darkness. Don't go away. we are back, and to Marlena, thank you for coming in and checking out the show. That's very cool. I always love looking up and seeing new names, and it's not that I don't love all of you usual names, but it's just neat to see new people coming in, and I hope you enjoyed the experience, and we'll come back again. Spread the word. Let other people know about the portal. So,
hear that, guys? You guys are chopped liver.
All right, Sheldon, thanks for having been able to join us. Looks like you're disconnecting. I think your connection's not good.
Yeah, you're right. Time to go.
It's time to go. No, but we are going to continue in this. We're getting into some phantoms and monsters reports of these bizarre cryptids that are known as dogman, but we also got a Bigfoot one coming up as well. So we're going to get to the next one now. Okay. Yep, here's another one. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was on the right one here. But yeah, I think there's something else. Now, what was it? Matthew said something really interesting in the chat. I just saw. Let me see, where the hell was it? Where was it? I just saw it. Nope, it's up higher. I'm gonna.
Matthew said, "I'm starting to think Bigfoot are us in the past, and Greys are us in the future, and seeing them is some sort of space-time event."
That's actually a pretty brilliant thought, Matthew. I appreciate that. Who knows? I mean, we are talking often about this multiverse idea, and what if it was just something like that? Like these are just little portals that are opening and closing, showing us glimpses of both what is the past and what is the future. Maybe. Of course, many of you probably have seen some of those videos that are online of these interviews with gray aliens and stuff, and I think that, you know, they're interesting, but I don't put a lot of faith into those being somehow smuggled government interviews with these creatures. But they do bring up some interesting thoughts about the Greys being a future version of ourselves, that they've come back to figure out what the hell happened because of this strange, apparently nuclear war that happens at some point in the future that annihilates the world that we know, and they are the remnants of what was once us. Is that a possibility? Hell, I don't know. Maybe, but
I actually heard. I read this recently too. That apparently in 2026, America's going to go to nuclear war with China, and we're all going to. Yeah, not good.
Not good. Well, you know, the thing is I don't put a lot of stock in most premonitions at all.
Well, yeah.
At all.
Well, yeah.
Because I just don't think these things are possible to predict. I just think that there may be ways to see things coming based upon what's happening at any moment. But I don't think that any future is solidified. I don't think that any events are just predestined, that they're just going to happen. I think that if that were the case, and then that would imply that every part of our lives, every decision, down to the most minute details, were already predisposed. And at that point, what's the point? I mean, if we're just the trains running on the tracks that were laid down over and over, it's kind of stupid. You know, it doesn't make sense to me, and I don't believe that it's just that simple. I think that we are an evolving, changing face. All of us and race of brilliant lights. And so I think that, you know, we shape the future with every moment that we're moving forward. And so any possible, I mean, hell, it sure is possible that there's some nuclear holocaust awaiting a future, but I don't know that it's ours. I don't really believe that, because I think there's a lot of stupidity in human beings, but I think that while they may have the capability of destroying all life as we know it, I don't think, with the greed that is exercised in this world, there's not a person alive that wants to, unless there's something really broken and wrong with that person. And there could be that. Don't get me wrong. There's some people that just want to watch the world burn. But I'm saying that, you know, governments and nations as we know them, nobody fancies the idea. I can't wait till all this is over. You know, nobody's looking towards that future with any kind of exuberance or hope. And if they are, there's something really freaking wrong with you. But anyway, just my 2 cents, whatever that's worth. Let's get on with the next report from Phantoms and Monsters. And again, special thanks to Lon Strickler for letting us share these on the show. I'm going to be talking to Lon tomorrow for another podcast interview. That's going to be great. He's just such a interesting guy. He's so well versed in so many different aspects of the paranormal and the Fortean topics that it's just a lot of fun to talk to him. So anyway, let's get to this again. There we go. There's my button. This is another reports of upright canine cryptid sightings and encounters reported in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. And this is a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania resident, or Pottstown. How did you get Pittsburgh out of that? My eyes are kind of glossing over tonight, so that's part of it. But the other part is I just kind of scanned ahead and kept reading. A Pottstown, Pennsylvania resident and her friends have had sightings and strange encounters with a canine cryptid at various times and locations. We are investigating. It says, I recently received the following information. I was born and raised in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. And currently still live there. The sightings was an hour west from Philadelphia and a half an hour away from Valley Forge. I ran into your Facebook page and thought Weird Pennsylvania or something similar to that, which led me to the webpage Phantoms and Monsters. I was reading some things and saw where people who had experienced encounters and sightings could email you with their story, and I've had 2 experiences where I've seen things that I just can't explain. I'll start with the most recent. Last year, a friend and I went for a ride to catch up with our friend. Okay, it was in March 2020 on a Saturday night and just so happened to be the weekend when the quarantine started. We were on Route 422 around midnight, and it was odd because that highway is usually pretty busy on a Saturday night, but that night we saw maybe 3 cars within a 30-minute ride. So we finished visiting our friend and started to make our way back home, and it was around 2:30 or 3 a.m., and we're going westbound on Route 422, and again, we're pretty much the only car on the road. There's a grass patch that divides the eastbound and westbound highways, and we're all in the fast lane between the Collegeville and Royersford exit, when all of a sudden we passed something to the left of us in the grass. We couldn't see it until we were right up on it, and we could only catch a glimpse of it for a second. This thing looked like it was on all fours, maybe eating roadkill or something, but unfortunately I could only see it from like the waist/hips down. It was much bigger than a deer and had longer, unkempt, straggly, orangish, reddish fur. Kind of like the color of a red fox, but a little lighter in color. What really gets me was the legs on this thing. It had canine-like legs, but they were huge and muscular. It just had that shape that instantly told me that this thing was not something you want to screw with. The legs looked like the drawings I've seen of werewolves or something evil. Something told me that this thing could walk on 2 legs also. After we passed it, I asked my friend who was driving, "Did you see that?" And he replied, "Yeah." I asked him, "What was that?" He replied, "I don't know." Neither of us brought it up again during that ride because I think we were just trying to process what the hell did we just see and didn't want to sound crazy. When I got home, I told my boyfriend about it, and he has no idea what kind of animal that lives around here that it could have been. Next time I saw my friend who had been driving that night, we both agreed that whatever we saw does not fit the description of any animals in the area, and that it was scary looking, and he calls it the beast. A couple months later, another friend was leaving my house and heard something across the street making a low guttural growling noise, which scared him straight to his car and out of there. He was an animal control officer for years and said nothing around here would make that noise. Then about a month after that, my boyfriend, who was taking out the trash, when he got to the front door, he heard something scratching at the door and sniffing loudly. He said it sounded like a pig grunt sound, but obviously it wasn't a pig. This past October, my friend was sitting in his car in my driveway, waiting for me to come outside. I noticed his doors were locked when I went to get in the car, and he said he heard something that sounded kind of like a human, but didn't know what it was, and it scared him. Once I got in his car, I told him everything I just wrote here, and I ended my story to him saying, "A few months ago I saw something on Route 422. And before I could say anything else, he said, "I saw it too." So I asked what color it was, and he described the exact same fur that I saw. And then he said, when I saw it, it was running on 2 legs across the highway. And once it saw my car, it took off really fast, like nothing around here would be able to. My heart was beating so fast and hard listening to him tell me about this thing, because I know he wasn't making it up. I was glad someone else saw this thing, and he doesn't know what it was, but said that it was about 7 to 8 feet tall, looked nefarious. He agreed its legs looked evil. Its legs looked evil. That cracks me up. He saw it around the same time of year as me, and it was about the same time of night, too. I drive this highway all the time and look for it every time, but haven't seen it again. Well, that's about it for the story. I always wondered if any other people saw this thing and what the hell it was. And this note, Butch Wichkowski and I are continuing to gather information on these sightings / encounters. Pottstown and the area south on Route 422, both in Montgomery County, are known for cryptid and UFO activity. Wow. Yeah, that's really wild. It's kind of interesting that it would be in the same place, more than one time,
Yeah.
Like it's a creature of habit then, right?
That's what I would think. That's where it, that must be the area, at least, where it lingers or lives. Yeah.
Very strange. But again, eating roadkill most likely. So it does eat. It is a physical creature as well. It is obviously something else, or at least something we don't understand. But that is pretty peculiar, isn't it?
Must be man, bear, pig.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Yeah, it could be man, bear, pig. You never know. But very strange. Let's go to the next one here. And this one, I saw the title and was like, oh my God. So this is from July 28th, 2020. Cow-sized hyena cryptid observed near Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. A cow-sized hyena.
Yeah,
now,
I was just thinking that size sounds insane.
Well, here's the thing, though. I've heard of other people seeing these large canine-like cryptids that look like hyenas. And I don't know that they're the same thing. In fact, I think there is actually historically a precedent for a very large hyena-looking thing here. And I know I've read about it on the show before, but I can't remember the name of it or any of the details other than the description of them looking very much like hyenas. But they're a very ancient breed of animal. Is it possible there's a surviving population still? Maybe, but for some reason they like Pennsylvania. So let's see what this says. And a South Central Pennsylvania waste hauler recently observed an unknown cow-sized hyena-like cryptid at approximately 3 a.m. during his route near Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. Around 3 a.m. on July 14th, 2020, I had my first close cryptid sighting. I'm writing to you and the community to see if anyone else has seen or heard anything the likes of what I saw today. Now, I'm a waste hauler, trash man, and I start my days very, very early every day. So the majority of my workday takes place between the wee hours of the day. I live in South Central Pennsylvania and have resided here nearly my whole life. My place of employment is in the college town of Shippensburg. My job sits on the outlying area of Shippensburg, and a lot of these areas are surrounded by vast farmlands and open fields. Well, this morning while traveling to the start of my route, I turned down one of the many roads surrounded by fields. It was a half-crescent moon, so there was plenty of light to see in the darkness. As I rounded my turn, I saw what looked like a cow lying in an open field area, but this field had no fences or wire to keep livestock in, and it was only one. I found this very odd as I'm looking at the broad shoulders of what I thought was a cow, so I broke out my high-power mag light to brighten up what I was looking at. When my beam hit this animal, it rose up from the ground in a slow, lumbering, and purposeful action. It came up on all fours. The creature stood about 5 to 6 feet tall at the shoulder blades. God, that's huge. I'm in my truck. I'm elevated, and I sit about that high from the ground. This creature was about 30 feet from me, and I know if I stood toe-to-toe with it, its head would be taller than I, and I'm at 6 foot. Now, at this moment, the back of this creature is still facing me. It then turned its head into my lights, and the lens flare off of its eyes were a yellow-green color, and the eyes facing forward. This was a predatory animal, not a damn cow. At that moment, heat and cold washed over my body, and I feel real, genuine, life-threatening fear take over. I don't move, sitting in the middle of the road, knowing I'm low in the pecking order of the food chain at this moment. It continues to measure me for what it felt like forever, and it suddenly turned its head and tore off faster than I could know. My pathetic guess is this is about 30 to 40 miles per hour as it darted away. And after all this, the only thing I could think was it was some form of giant hyena. The most terrifying real-life creature I've ever witnessed, and it was gone so fast. It's been on my mind all day, and I had to share this experience. I always listen to your show and others, and I hear about other people and their sightings, feeling away, wishing for my experience. And as of this morning, I really wish I didn't get my turn. Not like that, not feeling so vulnerable, like it was starting, or that it was staring, it says starting, but staring at its next meal. I hope there are others that may have seen or heard of what I saw. That light can be shined on the topic, especially for my area. I work in that darkness all the time. Now I'm looking over my shoulder. Yeah, that's creepy. We're in the process of interviewing the witness and plan to send investigators to the area. That's awesome. I wonder whatever turned up out of that. Doesn't look like much more came of it at this point, but yeah, very wild.
Yeah.
Huh.
I always think to myself, how can cryptids like this exist and we not know about it? But then I'm always reminded immediately after I think that for, I don't know, how long was it, hundreds or 100 years or so, that the panda bear was a cryptid at one point.
Yeah, I think there was active expeditions for like 60 years to find the panda. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of casual expeditions to find it before that. So yeah, it was more like 100 years before. And it was that's
crazy.
It was actually established as a fact that was a cryptid. The panda was a cryptid, but not anymore, obviously.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I had to take a drink. But let's get to the Bigfoot one. Now it's time for the Bigfoot paradox. Also from Phantoms and Monsters. We got about 8 minutes left. I think we can get through this. I'm hoping. God.
Let's do it.
Oh dear God. I don't think I can. I really
don't
think I can. That's a long one. I'll have to save this one for tomorrow night when Don's here. This is a big one. So let's go back to some glitches in the Matrix. What do you want? Glitches in the Matrix, or do you want the creepy experience?
Ooh, let's do
the uncanny disappearance of my imaginary friend.
That sounds great.
Creepy disappearances, creepy experiences. Excuse me. Number 2 on this list that we just started tonight, the uncanny disappearance of my imaginary friend. There was this kid in my kindergarten class that I distinctly remember playing with. We were pretty much inseparable, and then about a month after the Christmas break one year, he just disappeared. That's not even the creepiest part, or the part that I can't explain. I mean, he could have just moved away or something, right? But then how does that explain what happened after? When we got back from Christmas break, no one remembered him. Not the teachers or any of the other kids in my class. No one. I even asked the school counselor if he was okay, and she humored me by going through the records to see if he'd transferred. She couldn't find a thing. To this day, no one remembers him. I think about it at least once a month. That was by Crippled Unironically. Yeah, so this kid had a best friend, and suddenly this friend was gone, but so was the memory of this kid for everyone else as well.
Or consider the fact that was a spirit.
There's that point. Yep, that's the other take of it, right? Like he just thought it was another kid in the class and was always playing with him. Or he was like, why is that kid always playing by himself, talking and stuff?
Yeah.
You know, so to them, he's the weird kid, because he did say he talked to the counselor. So perhaps there was some reason he was talking to the counselors. They were like, yeah, we should have him talk to Becky. She's got to figure out what's wrong with this kid. He might have been eating paint chips over there. So all this time he was playing with somebody that wasn't there. Yeesh. That's kind of sad. Number 3, the ghost driver. I was delivering newspapers on my paper route when a longtime customer pulled up next to me. He asked me to give him his daily newspaper right there because he was going on a long trip. Well, I handed him his newspaper and then skipped his house as I continued my route. It seemed like a pretty harmless encounter, and then things got weird. The next day I was collecting the weekly fees, and we used to have to go collect the money back then because there were no internet payments yet. Well, I went to his house to collect the fee, and his wife promptly complained that I missed her house on my deliveries the day before. Even that seemed like a normal reaction. Her husband just hadn't told her that he had collected the paper. I explained to her that her husband had pulled up next to me the day before and that I'd given him the paper, and she started crying. The next thing I know, she told me that her husband had passed away a couple of weeks ago and was obviously not possible that I spoke with him the day before. Well, that made my face turn as white as a sheet. Despite what she told me, I know that what I saw on that day, nearly 30 years later, and I think about that situation and I have no way to logically explain what happened, and it still gives me the creeps. So something as innocent as that, right? That was by...
Yeah, just a normal day to him, but then finding out later how extraordinary that moment was.
Right, and how powerful that moment became after the fact. Like at that time, it's just like, oh yeah, Mr. Richards, here's your paper. And, not thinking anything of it. And then she's complaining. It's like, well, your husband grabbed the paper from me. He pulled up in his car. Nope, not possible.
Oh.
Yikes. That was by Avian Chef. Avian Chef? Avian Chef. Okay. We got about time for, this one's okay. We're going to read this one. This is Visions of the Future. I had this neighbor who was around 30 years old, and he was such a sweet guy. Let's just say his name was Adam. I felt like he was the kind of older brother I'd always wished for, but never actually had. He was a really talented guy, gym freak, good at singing and playing every possible instrument, dance, sports, cooking, etc. He used to take me and my younger brother to the beach whenever possible, so this incident took place 3 days before my 14th birthday. I was on my way to school in the morning when this scene flashed in front of my eyes, and it was like I had a premonition or something, and in this scene, I saw Adam lose his life in a terrible accident. It felt so real that I almost wanted to cry. I just passed it off as a crazy daydream because I'd watched a movie in which the same thing happened to a main character the previous night. I continued with my day normally, and it was normal until almost 8 at night. And that's when I heard the news that would change my life. My parents got a call from someone that night, and I could see their faces change expression almost immediately. Once the call ended, they said they needed to go somewhere and would be back in a while. I wasn't sure what was happening, yet I felt that something wasn't right. The next morning, I woke up to the worst news of my life. Adam had died. Apparently, he'd been in a major accident the previous night and passed away on the spot. I didn't know how to react because a few hours before the accident had happened, I had had a bad feeling that I couldn't explain. For days, I couldn't even sleep, and I blamed myself because I felt like maybe I could have warned him about it, and maybe he would still be alive. It's been almost 7 years since that incident took place, but every time I think about it, my heart aches, and I still wish he was alive. I still can't explain that premonition that I had or why I had that sort of sinking feeling hours before it actually happened.
Oh.
Yeah, that's tough. Party Goal 9359 wrote that one, folks. There you have it. Wow.
I mean, you got to listen to those gut feelings. When it's a weird feeling and it doesn't feel like anything else, I think those are the ones to listen to because that's something trying to tell you something.
Yeah, I think so. I think we get those premonitions, those feelings because I believe we are very psychic. I mean, we are energetic beings in our core, and we're connected to the whole expanse that is the universe. And so when they come to us, these things, and maybe they don't come often, or maybe we don't pay attention very often, but when they come, I think that they are very profound, and you should pay attention because they are impressive. And even as tragic as that is, it's tough to have a premonition for something that you can't stop, that you can't do anything about. And I don't know that if he had even said anything, if it would have mattered. It's just, it's just one of those things, I guess, but it's very sad.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know what else is sad?
That the show's ending.
that the show's ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gone quick, but all I can say is I'm really thankful for all of you guys for being here and being a part of our journey through the portal. And Don and I will be back tomorrow night to do it again. But Sheldon, you got anything to share before we go?
Absolutely. If you guys want to join us, we have a Discord. I'm going to link it right in the chat. You can stay up to date with us, look at all the incredible links that the community shares with each other, and a lot of great discussions to be had in there.
And there's the bell, folks. Just remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody.